Hey folks, we're going to be talking about the reviews for the Odyssey on Rotten Tomato. I got pretty curious about this. The talk on the town is that the review score here might be tampered with, that these might not actually be the right user reviews, which is interesting. And you can see there's two numbers here. There's the all audience, which is at 93, and then the verified audience, which is at 97. So I decided to write a web scraper and check all of this. I just went through and captured all the different audience reviews, and that job finished. And so we have all of the reviews here. I'm not going to go and show you all of them. So this is, let's see, here's one from Brittany. The story was done so beautifully. The acting was amazing. 5 stars, right? There's a bunch of flags in here, but you can see this is it verified? This basically means was the purchase verified, which is a really cool thing about Rotten Tomatoes. That's one of the only review sites where they actually verify your purchase, which has pros and cons. It's not like always a good thing, but I think it's cool that, it's a pretty good way to like fight review bombing. And then there's super review. I don't even know what this is, how many star ratings they gave. This is it positive? This is true if it's greater than 3.5 or greater than or equal to 3.5. So a 3 is not positive, but a 3.5 is. And then they have flags for whether it has spoilers or profanity, and I think that determines whether they show it. And then this is actively moderated. This is always true, so this actually we can kind of hide. And then there's the reviews and the data was created. That's basically the data. And then you can take all this data and you can try to recreate their numbers. So this is a little bar chart for all verified and non-verified. And what you find is that for all, we can see that the 60% said 5 stars, pretty high. And then about 12% said pretty bad. So that's this little bar here. But mostly it was like this, which is kind of wild. It's like, that's really, really high for number 5, or for like giving 5 stars. And then verified, these are the people who definitely purchased it. And by the way, these are text reviews, and this is going to be important later. Verified is 70% about, so even higher than this for 5 stars. And the rest are here. And these numbers here, so it's basically when you look at verified, the number actually isn't 97, it's 90. And then this is 93, or this is 9%. We're going to get to how they got their number. But when you actually just say, what are the verified reviews? It's showing this, right? So 90% would be positive, not 97. Then you can come over here. You can look at non-verified, and that's where you get this number that's floating around. So I've gone back, got the data myself, went and checked it. Yeah, it's 53% are positive, and then a ton of negative. But this looks a lot like review bombing. Like I think about this a lot for video games, right? When you look at a video game and you open up Steam, you want to know, like, okay, is this game good or bad? And if you pull up a game here, we'll click on one at random. You can like look at this Oaken Tower. I have no idea about it, right? Very high reviews, but not a ton of reviews, right? So even though it has really high reviews, what's better? This game with like 95% reviews and 1,000 reviews, or some other game that has like, like 100,000 reviews and like 85%, which is a better game? Well, I think that's a hard question to answer, but a strong argument can be made for the game that has like, 500,000 people rating reviews for it, or 100,000 people rating reviews. Casting no shade at this game, I clicked it randomly. But what this tells you is that a game that has a ton of reviews means it marketed to a tremendous number of people, right? A game which has like a trailer that markets it to a very narrow set of people, like a game with bad graphics and things like that, most people are not going to be interested in buying it. And so when they do buy it, based on the expectations that were set by the trailer and possibly other things too, they say, oh, this game was great. It met all my expectations, 10 out of 10. I think, which is fine. But when you're looking at the Steam reviews, you look not only at the rating, but at how many. And the how many basically is telling you how wide of an appeal did this have, which is important if you're wondering if it's going to appeal to you. Games that have a super wide appeal It's just probably statistically more likely you're going to like them. So you apply this back to movies. What does this mean? It means that we kind of want to see the verified, because this is what like Steam reviews are. We want to know what the verified reviews are. This is really good data. Like, it's not really great if people can go and review bomb who never saw the movie, and it like and we're conflating these two things. However, that doesn't mean the review bombing stuff has no point, because if you market a movie, like let's say you take some superhero movie or something, it's got like a well-established fan base. They want to like it. You have a big crowd of people that want to like it, that want to like this product. That's why you bought the IP. That's why you made that particular movie. If they don't like it, if they're upset with it ahead of time, that's also sort of valid. Like, if there was a game on Steam that I wanted to like, and it turns out that it sucks, like, I would sort of want to leave a bad review for it, even though I didn't purchase it. Now, Steam doesn't allow that, which I think is smart. But it shows up here in the quantity of reviews, and you can also see it if you go to like SteamDB and you see how many like people are playing the game. That's another way to assess like how wide of a kind of aperture is this game targeting. So, is there a simple and easy solution to this? I mean, sort of. You can just look at verified, and then you can look at like box office numbers and see how well it did. That's one way. But we're going to get back to it, because the thing is this verified number only gives us 90% positive, which is good, right? We look at this, and then we have to go back to the website, and we have to see why does it say 97? Because the difference between 90% and 97% is huge. So why is it 97%? The answer is right here in this 10,000 plus verified ratings. That's verified. So where do these come from? These are like app pop-ups from Fandango, where they do a push notification. They say, how did you like it? And you do like a certain number of stars, but you don't leave any review. Like, there's no written review. Now, when they do that, they get way, way, way higher review scores. Sort of not surprisingly. They get high enough review scores that even when you add these to it, these become like noise. Because when you look at how many total entries we have here, we had about 2,700. Right? That's almost nothing compared to the overwhelming volume of people that got the rate 1 through 5. It's like the bathroom. Like when you leave a bathroom, it has like a smiley face, sad face. Like you just punch that when you leave. I would say this is closer to being right. And the other thing is, like, I look at Rotten Tomatoes all the time to see if I want to watch a show or a movie. And I sort of know what different scores mean. I sort of know what different audience scores mean. But they subtly shifted around. And now it's like, you thought this was a good audience score, but really we've changed the way we calculate it so that it's these push notifications on people's phones. These are not people who like care enough to write a review. And also the other thing, this is well known, when you do push like reviews, when you ask people to write a review, it's just going to skew positive, because people who are pissed about a product are more likely to leave a review. That's the case on like Amazon and pretty much everything. So this is basically what's happening. This number, which used to be what you would call the audience score, is now getting highly conflated by the huge, like, exit the bathroom poll they do on the Fandango app. There's obviously a conflict of interest here, too. Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes. Fandango's whole business is selling tickets. They sell more tickets when movies are popular. So there's a huge conflict of interest. This is a conflict of interest in basically almost every single market, where the people selling you the product are also the people keeping the reviews. So it's like a huge conflict of interest. Some places do it pretty well. I think Steam does it generally pretty well. Other places don't. So yeah, that's why these numbers are so different. And all audience here, I'll compare that. That's 93. Like, why is that so different than this? If we look at how many total, this is the raw numbers. This is the total number of verified. We're at 1,620. If we look at how many non-verified, we're like 1,900, or we're 1,119. Hardly any, right? So all that's being done when they go verified and non-verified is they're taking this huge number of people that did the 5 stars just in the Fandango app but didn't write any text review. And it was a push notification, so they just hit how many they want to make it go away, right? People totally unmotivated to write a review. Those people are completely outweighing all the audience reviews, completely outweighing it. What is an easy thing that they should do? I think that would be ethical, is I think they should separate out the like text reviews for audience. Like have at a minimum, I understand they're going to want to show the highest thing, which is this with all the things put together. Fine. They should at least show here the like text reviews only. Like that should be an option to just see that. And quite frankly, I think the most valuable thing is text reviews only from verified audience. That's what I would look at in conjunction with box office sales, which is basically the same thing as like looking at review count. Which, I mean, it also, I mean, honestly, it can be just like Steam. You can put next to this how many are in each of these buckets. And if I were looking at this all the time, I'd be like, oh, this got like 10,000, or, you know, like a 5,000 text reviews. That's really high. A lot of people went and left reviews on it, and they're good. It's probably a really good movie. You know, but if it's small, if it's like, oh, there's 50 people that left reviews, but it's very positive, I'd be like, yeah. Maybe it's not, you know, like unless it's really up my alley, I might not like it. So I think they should basically switch to what Steam does. They should take the reviews. They should put how many are in each category so you understand both how wide was the, like, how many people liked it, like how big was the aperture, the funnel or whatever for this movie, and also what the review score was. So I think that's the way to do it. We'll close out here. There's a really good article I just want to go through here real quick. This is a web page. I'll put this in the description. Is Rotten Tomatoes still reliable? But this average Rotten Tomato critic score over time, been going up. Notice it changes right around here a lot. Small trend before, but sort of noise, where from like basically from 2000 to like 2015, it went up maybe like 4%. But since 2015, what's happened? It's gone up like basically a whole like 12%. So it went up a lot more over the next, this was over a decade and a half. It went up 4%. And then over the next single decade, it went up like 15%. And I'm pretty sure it's not because movies are better. I think there've been a lot of shitters in this period of time. I don't think movies have gotten better over that period. I like, there have been good movies, but not a ton, in my humble opinion. Then you have this audience score versus critic score. So used to be, well, we'll just look at this actually. Correlation between Rotten Tomatoes audience score and critic score. It's hard to know if this is something more insidious. Like Fandango acquired them in 2016, which is, by the way, when this correlation starts dropping. And when this also starts to rise, as soon as they get acquired by the people who sell you tickets and want high reviews, you know, coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. Correlation between Rotten Tomatoes, audience score, and critic score. This starts dropping. This could also be a culture war thing. Don't know. But my first guess is it's probably not mainly that, but it's probably partially that. It's definitely not that at all. This is definitely partially the culture war. And then Rotten Tomatoes, average number of critics per film. This also has been going up pretty sharply since Fandango acquired them. And then the guy went and looked at, like, who are these new reviewers? Like, who are the people reviewing a lot? And they're basically, like, no-name people. So he was sort of thinking, like, oh, maybe all these, like, it's other big, important entertainment outlets that are, like, doing the reviews. And no, a lot of it is sort of, like, people you're not really familiar with. Anyway, I think the smoking gun here is that Steam, in many ways, far better than Amazon reviews are garbage. I think this is honestly what they should do. I think if Rotten Tomatoes wants to make this review site good, they need to 100% for user reviews. I think the critic scores are fine where they do it on like a 1 to 5 or, you know, whatever. They have the critic scores. It's not just Rotten and Fresh. They have like the out of 5 rating. That's fine. For the audience score, they need to copy Steam. What are the parts of that? And this is huge, and this is going to be counterintuitive. But the first thing they need to do is they need to get rid of the rated out of 5 bullshit. It's either yay or nay. You like it or you didn't like it. The reason you mess it up is because when you do the out of 5 rating, then if you are really hate the film, or let's say you just don't like the film, but it pissed you off, something in it bothered you, you're part of the culture war, one side or the other. You come in here to review it, you are going to rate it 1 or 5. Look at this, 1 or 5. This is what people are doing. Then if you're like a sensitive person that's like, well, I think this really was like a 3.5, right? You put it here and your vote counts almost nothing compared to the people who wait 1 or 5. This is how it is for games. This is by far and away the best thing they could do is get rid of all of this bullshit with like rating it 1 through 5. No, do pass fail. Make everybody's vote the same. Did you like it or did you not? It's actually, by the way, baked in to the name of their website. It's called Rotten Tomatoes. The whole point is they break it down. Is this good or bad? Right? Like we look at critic reviews here. Splat, tomato. They have good or bad built in. They put it in their whole thing. How many are certified fresh? They're doing a filter for you where they say greater than or equal to 3.5. They're already doing it for you, right? So what should they do? They should get rid of that. They should make it binary, right? It's either good or it's bad for user reviews. For critics, maybe it's fine, because I think critics aren't really trying to like, I mean, some of them I'm sure are, but most of them are, it's their job. They're probably more professional. They're not like the mouth-breathing, unwashed heathens that are using the user reviews. And I think for that, each person gets 1 review. So I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing is they need to go in here and have a separate, they're sandbagging the shit out of these scores. These bathroom, like leaving the bathroom exit polls where you just like hit 5 stars to make it go away. This is not a good way to collect it. If they switch that to good or bad instead of like rate it 1 through 5, that's probably better. I think they should also split that out. And maybe you could just have 2 toggles, verified audience, all audience, and then text reviews, and then all reviews, something like that. And whatever they're going to show as the default is fine. I'm fine coming in and clicking around with it. But I think the best single metric, like what I would like to see personally to make, and I think this is the best pro user choice, is the one that they show in the front should not be the leaving the bathroom exit poll dominated metric. It should be text reviews and it should be verified. And then they should put how many were there, just like they do in Steam, right? So to remind you, in Steam, they do, here they don't show the actual percent, but they could show the percent. I mean, they do, you have to hover your mouse over it, right? So they show the percent and then they show the number. And I think that's what they do. It would be so much better. Yeah. And it is good to be able to see people who haven't, like, don't have verified purchases too. But I think it's right to make it hidden, because I think, like, when I go to look at a movie, I don't want to see, like, the review bombing people who never watched it as the main thing. I think it's good to be able to see it. What did those people think? Like, yeah, how many people are outraged about it or would have wanted to see it but didn't? Because maybe you watch the trailer and you think, well, this is for me. But other people watched it maybe a little more closely and they're like, this might not be for you. Because if basically your trailer screens out a ton of people who really are part of the core audience who would want it. Well, does their voice not matter? I mean, I think it matters. If you screen out 90% of your audience because they're not going to like it, and then you like just listen to the 10% who are diehard and they're like, woo, it's great. Is it? So I think you need both. I don't think there's like a way to condense this all into a single number. But anyway, I thought this was interesting, especially since I went and dug up all the data to verify it myself. But yeah, pretty interesting.